Today, Precarious plays Metroid Prime 2 Echoes. I remember now.
What?
There was a dead end before that I went into, and then I was like, there's nothing here? Nothing here except for storm particles that kill me even faster than Phazon?
Mm-hmm.
Really? Nothing? Nothing else? Is there anything down here now that I can go down here and I'm fine?
A lot of purple, some wiggles.
I'm trying to wrap my head around mentioning the big red car.
What? Oh.
It's just not working out.
What? I thought that I was having a hearing problem.
Listen, I was an older brother.
When it was Wiggles time, yes.
Yeah, when
I know
the
this.
Wiggles were popular. And I've got to say, they were an oasis. Because they actually all had very pleasant singing voices.
As opposed to...
so many alternatives.
Yeah. Lots of whiny, squeaky cartoon characters having to sing in their whiny, squeaky cartoon character voice.
Yes.
Yeah, not a favorite. I was an older cousin during the Wiggles time, but that just does not give you the same amount of exposure to big red cars and the like. Anyways, RimWorld was the name that I was trying to remember. And one of the things that I find most entertaining about RimWorld and games like it, like Dwarf Fortress, is all of the story that happens on accident.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like so much more fully featured than so many of the other procedurally generated thingies that there are. Because, I mean, like, why do you think that is? Is it just because there are more variables? Is it that simple?
I think that that's part of it, but also I think it's because RimWorld specifically was kind of standing on the stout shoulders of Dwarf Fortress much more directly.
Yeah.
You know? Because, so, I will say that, I think that a lot of developers that are making procedurally, that focus on, like, they lean heavily on procedural content. You know, I don't know. I'm not feeling great today. I don't know if I can coherently say what I want to say on this subject and say everything that I want to on the subject. Here's the problem. Games that have one of like their core pillars, or sometimes multiple core pillars of their gameplay, where like a randomized procedural element is essential to that element of gameplay functioning, they are inexplicably popular right now. There are a lot of fans. There are a lot of people that are way into that style of game. And I think that part of the reason is because whenever you find like the one that appeals to you, you can latch onto it. And it's like, hey, don't knock procedural generation. So here's a good example for me, right? Mm-hmm. This is me talking to me. What about Hades? Shut up.
Yeah.
You know? And it's like, well, here's the thing. You're probably not playing all of them. You know?
Yeah.
You're probably not analyzing the market and being worried about, like, I wonder what's going to happen in 10 years when the next wave of game designers, even this is their source of inspiration. Mm-hmm. My hope is that there will be like a kickback and you'll wind up with like a recoil, right?
Yeah.
young people will recoil from it and be like, man, all of this, it's just this like melange.
It's just all this math.
Yeah, it's just this endless mass of like a 3 out of 5, like pretty okay stuff to do, you know? That's what has resulted here. You know what I want to do? I want to make like a really finely crafted 3-hour thing that's just exciting from beginning to end, and every creature you encounter it has a very focused, specific design because I understand what the player character is capable of, and it's a really demanding trial, you know? Mm-hmm. And I want to be clear, games like that are still being made, because of course they are.
Yeah.
Because they're really good games, and there are enough people that fortunately still recognize that. But by percentage, like if you just look at the store Steam page, just the number of games that just seem to have procedural elements jammed in, presumably just to stay competitive. I don't know, man. Anyway, it's a whole topic, and I don't want to present my argument poorly, because I think that it'll be really easy for people to pick apart in defense of that one game that they like.
Yeah.
Like I can, and I think that, you know, I would say that the common thread is that the most successful games that rely on procedural generation, they are like, they go all in on it, right? Like just having you know, like your levels, your dungeons be procedurally generated without much else, it just comes off as lazy. No, it just feels lazy.
Yeah, I've got to say, like, there's a game that I have played a fair bit of that I would give it a B.
Yeah.
At this point. Because, you know, eventually I started to, like, well, I recognized the patterns pretty early, but it took a while for them to not be fun anymore. You know? And that's Crypt of the Necrodancer.
Yeah.
And basically what happened is that the combination of my skill and luck did not collaborate to progress quickly enough that I wasn't getting sick of tracks. You know, like the beats. It's a rhythm game, basically. And so you wander around and you have to move to the beat and crawl through a dungeon. The dungeon is procedurally generated, and like all of your weapons and the things that are available to be bought, like nothing is ever in the same place twice. There are some patterns that do show up because otherwise you wouldn't have different levels. Like you wouldn't be able to say, well, this one is the more hard thing, you know? There would be no progress through the game. So there are some patterns that are identifiable. But like it took me a long time to get to a point where a run of bad luck was so irritating that I stopped playing. You know, but I had fun with that game, but really it was like the same types of things in different places, and the music was always the same for each level and so on. So it wasn't like super infinite. It just made it interesting.
Yeah.
For a little while.
And I will say that I don't think that either of us got there, but it is possible to have like a satisfying narrative conclusion in Crypt of the Necrodancer.
I was really hoping to beat that game, and I think that I've decided not to at this point. But I played it a lot. It was fun. But yeah, it did not develop the types of stories that you share whenever you're playing Dwarf Fortress. Because the thing is that I don't have the patience for Dwarf Fortress. It's too worky for me. If I had a different type of job, I'm sure it would be really satisfying. But the types of problems that you have to solve in order to keep your little Dwarf Fortress safe from, orcs? Everything. Safe from everything. Safe from excessive raindrops, for example. All of that is just too similar to, like, everything that I have to do to survive out in the wild in meat space for me to really enjoy it. But I do like it when you play it because you always bring the stories back. And they're always so wild. Like, I don't think you've ever had a playthrough that nothing interesting happened. You know?
Want to see something cool?
Yeah.
Here we go. Sometimes I think it's weird that they included this feature. You don't use it a lot, I don't think. At least I haven't in the past.
What? Are we teleporting?
Yes.
Wow.
On a beam of light.
That feels really pretty unique in this universe.
Yep.